In the heart of a bustling city, where the shadows stretched long and the neon lights flickered, a young woman named Lena walked home alone. At just 19, she had faced more than her share of hardships. Her parents had passed away in an accident 3 years prior, leaving her to navigate the world on her own. Despite the odds, Lena's spirit remained unbroken, though her circumstances often tested her resolve. Working long hours at a small diner to make ends meet, she barely managed to cover rent for her modest apartment. That night, Lena's shift had ended later than usual. The streets were unusually quiet, with only the hum of distant traffic and the occasional bark of a stray dog breaking the silence. She adjusted her worn coat against the biting chill of the night air and quickened her pace, eager to reach the safety of her home. As she turned onto a dimly lit street, a feeling of unease crept over her. The narrow road was flanked by abandoned buildings, their windows shattered and their walls covered in graffiti. She heard footsteps behind her, steady and deliberate. Her pulse quickened, and she glanced over her shoulder. A group of 3 men loitered at the corner, their laughter carrying on the cold breeze. They noticed her and exchanged looks before following her at a casual pace. "Hey there, sweetheart," one of them called out, his voice dripping with mockery. "Where are you off to in such a hurry?" Lena's heart pounded in her chest. She clutched her bag tightly and quickened her pace. Her mind raced as she tried to think of a way to lose them. She turned into a narrower street, hoping they wouldn't follow. But the sound of their footsteps grew louder, their taunts more brazen. "Don't ignore us," another one sneered. "We just want to talk." Fear clawed at Lena's resolve as they closed the gap, blocking her path and surrounding her. The leader of the group smirked, his eyes glinting with malice. "No need to be scared," he said, reaching out as if to grab her arm. "We'll take care of you." "Please, I don't want any trouble," Lena said, her voice trembling but firm. Before his hand could make contact, a deep, gravelly voice rang out from the shadows. "I wouldn't do that if I were you." The men turned toward the voice, startled. Out of the darkness stepped a man who looked as though he had seen every harsh corner of life. His clothes were worn, his beard unkempt, and his eyes sharp with a quiet intensity. He carried an air of experience and resilience that made him seem larger than life despite his rugged appearance. Lena recognized him. He was a homeless man who often sat near her apartment building, selling small trinkets he had crafted. "Mind your own business, old man," the leader snarled, trying to maintain his bravado. The man didn't flinch. Instead, he took another step forward, his posture unyielding. "This is my business. You've got 2 choices. Walk away now or deal with me." The group laughed, but their nervous glances betrayed their uncertainty. "You? What are you gonna do?" one of them scoffed. In a flash, the man's demeanor shifted. He moved with surprising speed, picking up a sturdy wooden plank from the ground and holding it firmly. His stance and unwavering gaze made it clear he had been in more than a few fights before. "Try me," he growled. The men hesitated, sensing the danger in his calm. The leader cursed under his breath and motioned for the others to leave. One by one, they backed away, muttering curses as they retreated into the night. The man didn't lower the plank until the last of them disappeared. Lena stood frozen, her breath catching in her throat. The man turned to her, his expression softening. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded, tears brimming in her eyes. "Thank you. I don't even know your name." "It's Tom," he said with a small smile. "And don't worry about it. Just glad I was around." Lena insisted on buying him a meal as thanks. Over hot coffee and sandwiches at a nearby diner, she learned about Tom's life. Once a construction worker, he had lost everything after an injury left him unable to work. Without family or support, he had ended up on the streets. Despite his circumstances, Tom had never lost his sense of right and wrong. From that night on, Tom and Lena formed an unlikely bond. He would often walk her home when he saw her, and in return, she brought him food and helped him find resources to get back on his feet. Lena's gratitude and determination inspired Tom, who began to believe in second chances. Word of the incident spread through the neighborhood. Tom, once invisible to the world, became a local hero. People started offering him odd jobs, and slowly, he began rebuilding his life. Lena's landlord even offered Tom a small room in exchange for maintenance work around the building. Lena never forgot that night. It wasn't just Tom's courage that had saved her. It was his reminder that even in the darkest times, there are angels among us, often disguised as the most unlikely of heroes. Together, they proved that kindness and bravery could change lives forever, one small act at a time.